Welcome to That Entrepreneur Life, a podcast about entrepreneurship that takes you from idea to launch and beyond. Each week, your hosts, Andrew Lees and 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗏 discuss different business topics aimed at adding value to any entrepreneur's journey.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of That Entrepreneur Life. I'm Andrew Lees, and I'm here with 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗏. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Not much, brother. I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited to kick another, episode off. We keep this thing chugging along. We keep adding value to our listeners, and we keep having these awesome guests. And without further ado, I want to kick this thing off by welcoming our special guest today, John Vuong, to the show. How you doing, bud?
Thanks for having me, Clint, Andrew. I'm excited to be on your show today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're really excited to have you on and to go through your entrepreneurial journey. Before we get into everything, can you just tell our audience who you are and what you're all about?
Yeah, definitely. Started an SEO agency 8 years ago. So back in 2013. Didn't know anything about SEO, actually. I was always doing sales and advertising sales for 10 years prior to that. Dabbled in traditional, dabbled into affiliate online. And then I worked at 𝗖𝗹𝗶𝗁 Group for 5 years, where I met tons of business owners, thousands of them, to kind of dictate how I wanted to move towards entrepreneurship and learn from, I guess, business owners themselves. But prior to that, immigrant family from Vietnam, just one of those kids that was ultra curious, studied business finance, and just wanted to just live a Canadian American dream, right? Just having enough to support one another, having great friends, great culture, having the ability to choose and not be dictated. And that's the freedom that we live in. And I think a lot of people forget about what we have versus every other nation out there, right? Especially Western cultures.
Yeah, there's a lot of, it's not perfect in the US or in Canada, but at the same time, I agree. I think it's so much further than a lot of countries where we have so much, there's so much potential, and that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a lot more abundance of choice. It's all about like survival in a lot of different countries, right? Food and shelter, bare bone minimum. Yeah. Like we have choice of clothes. We have choice of going out and doing things or working at different companies and, buying things. Like a lot of people just don't even have that. Right. So just being grateful for what we have.
I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yep.
And John, having you on the show today, we know you're a seasoned SEO specialist and owner of your own firm, right? And you kind of touched on it briefly, but was there a moment in time when that the light bulb came on, your entrepreneurial journey started? You said this was it. And what is it specifically about entrepreneurship that led you to where you are today?
Yeah. So again, 8 years ago, that's when I started this agency. But prior to that, 5 years working at a fairly large multinational company, right? Like if you think about 𝗖𝗹𝗶𝗄𝗏, every single city had a phone book going to every single business, home, office tower. But here in Canada, we were like a monopoly. It was only the 𝗖𝗹𝗶𝗄𝗏. We don't have 𝗖𝗹book, or I don't know if your listeners know what 𝗖𝗹𝗶𝗄𝗏 is, but it's a telephone directory. And today, I think Google kind of replaced them, right?
For sure.
But 5 years working with thousands of business owners, near the end of my tenure there, a lot of these business owners were just frustrated. They were challenged to know where customers were coming from because people were not consuming the directory that they used to, where it was the only choice in town. Now there's an option to choose Google and social media and digital platforms or email and funnels and all this stuff. But a lot of business owners didn't understand that because they were so used to traditional magazines, trade shows, radio, television, directory, right? Brochures. So with this advent of technology, a lot of these business owners were more mature. They've been doing it for so many years, decades, generations even. So they just didn't know how to navigate to more the digital presence. And I wanted to be their trusted source, right? Because building great relationships and understanding digital, I knew there was something there. And they can easily do it themselves, but as a business owner, you're so frustrated doing so many other things, right? Challenge from operations, sales, marketing, finances, hiring. There's so many other components. And in terms of marketing, there's so many subsets, right? There's digital marketing, traditional branding, email, social. There's so many content, so many other factors that play a role. So I wanted to be their kind of transition piece and help them with an all-in-one boutique agency type offering that they didn't have to worry. Once they hired me or worked with me, I can do everything that's focused just on SEO for them.
Okay. So what was it about SEO or search engine optimization that that led you to want to focus on that instead of, there's obviously also pay-per-click and what was it about SEO that really drew you in?
And that's a really good question, because while working at Yellow Pages, as you know, it's a phone book, and people only went to the Yellow Pages when they're ready to buy. Say a restaurant, a plumber, physio, dentist, whoever it may be, they pick up the phone book because it's a free directory going to every home, and they search for a vertical, right? They search for an industry, and then there's probably 50 or 100 other dentists to choose from.
Right.
Yeah.
And they are ready to buy, but now they just have to navigate who to buy it from, right? So it's a complete list of people that are actively looking for their product and service. If you now fast forward to Google and Yahoo or Bing, that's exactly what search engines are, right? It's the same thing. They kind of replace what Yellow Pages did. And with advertising, if I look at how, paid ads on social ads or Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and then Google ads and all this other emails and stuff, it's more about interrupting people's mindset. It's like radio brochures, magazines, trade show.
Like top of the funnel.
Yes, top funnel informational gathering versus when you're ready to buy, transactional type, ready intent purpose, right? So when people are actively looking on Google, they're in control. They already are seeking out a vendor, product or service wise, and now they're just navigating to figure out who they want to work with, what company they want to really vet and then transact with, right? So for me, it was more of a seamless transition, and I knew that paid ads was not my cup of tea because anyone can do paid ads. I wanted to really figure out where the abundance of searches came from. And I was more of a Google person, and I love organic because I never click on ads, right? So I'm like, if I'm the average person and say 60, 70% of the population are average, I don't know, right? But if I figure out how to rank where majority of the people are, it's like the 80-20 rule, right? You play where everyone's going to be searching, like Google. Don't play on Bing, Yahoo, all these other DuckDuckGo search engines. Play where the big fish are, which is majority of the traffic, and then play where within that majority of traffic, people are clicking.
Yeah.
That's where a majority of the business will come from. And it's more intent purpose versus, again, there's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all these paid ads. There's a lot of people searching, but they're not searching for intent to purchase a product or service. They're there to hang out with friends, to check out the news. They're there to follow their influencer or whatever it is, right? But they're not really looking to transact. So it's a different play altogether, like TV ads, right? You might see, Gatorade with Michael Jordan or whatever, then you go out and purchase Gatorade. But that's product placement. It's different, right?
Yeah, there's not a direct connection necessarily, and with a lot of advertising like that, where it's product placement, where it's you're trying to get impressions and build brand awareness. That's great, but it's really, really, really difficult to track. You don't know, more than 9 times out of 10, a billboard isn't, you see a Gatorade ad, you're not going to run to the store and go buy Gatorade. You're not going to be like, oh, I am thirsty. I am going to, and, because Kawhi Leonard is drinking it, I'm going to, I really should drink Gatorade. But there's power in that kind of advertising too. But yeah, I think, getting organic traffic is really the sustainable solution, especially even over, instead of getting a billboard or a TV spot, if you're going to pay for it, it's probably better to at least pay for it on a channel where you can track. But then it's not necessarily sustainable, right? Like, you don't want to have to be paying for ads forever to drive traffic, because you don't own that. The second that you stop paying for it, then that traffic goes away. So
I think the analogy I always say is you either rent space all day long or you want to own space, right? And search engine optimization is owning your space, positioning yourself as that thought leader expert in the eyes of the customer, and ultimately Google, because they're the ones who dictate how you're going to be ranked. But it's ultimately your customers who are searching, and you're positioning yourself as a thought leader. And when you become that thought leader in the eyes of customer Google, and you now can dominate the search engines, right? Where majority of the traffic comes from. And then you just have to figure out how to get more clicks and sales, copy and calls to your page to then convert. But as a small business owner, that's where they just want more sales, more transactions, and more revenue, right? They don't care about impressions, clicks, views and page views and all this other metrics that TV, radio, podcast, all they track is impressions. Business owners want tangible results. Like, what's the cost per sale if I spend money X amount?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And when you own that space, though, how much easier is it for you to build that perfect storm up when you're owning the space? But then if you do rent space, right, you're dominating not only organic, but you're right there at the top of the actual pay-per-click side of things, to where it's like they're seeing you. Now it's like your brand is just ingrained in their head, and it could create a perfect storm but I always stress people, because I own a digital marketing agency, and I always stress to people, like, if you're going to run and you're thinking short term, I get it. Okay. You want some pay-per-click ads, whatever, but SEO is long term. And that is what's really going to do it for your business. Because again, like you just said, John, you're owning the space instead of renting the space.
It's inbound leads, right? Of quality type of people. They're not shoppers. And there's a difference when you figure out, and you spend a lot of money on other forms of advertising, not just social, but I've done trade shows. I've hired PR companies. I've done so much and spent hundreds of $1,000s in advertising that I can track and know what works and what doesn't. And until you're in it as a business owner, you'll realize, you're not a big brand like Walmart or Amazon or whatever. They have huge amounts of money, right? And they can do Budweiser Super Bowl ads, right? Like, it's different when you have unlimited funds and unlimited resources. But when you're a small business owner or you're starting off as an entrepreneur, every dollar counts. You got to make sure that it works for you, it's trackable, and it actually generates something in return, or else you're going to pivot and try something different.
Yeah, exactly. So some people in our audience might not understand exactly what SEO is, and it actually took me a long time to kind of figure it out. When I started my first product-based business, my business partner and I were like, we'll hire a firm, they'll do their magic SEO stuff, and then we'll be good. And we ended up hiring a guy a company that I don't think they really knew what they were doing. So you have to be really careful. Somehow our traffic seemed to go down. But if you've got the right company helping you with it, doing the right things, I know you can get massive results. So what are like the basic components of SEO? And then why do you focus on local SEO in particular?
Yeah. So SEO is short for search engine optimization. I focus on local. The main reason is I worked at Yellow Pages, and these are local business owners that I wanted to support. So small, medium-sized businesses that were professional in focus, like dentists, lawyers, physio, chiro, trades, right? These are all people that have been spending 10, 20 years in their profession, expertise, but they didn't know anything about how to really scale and grow their business online with the digital footprint and become more visible. So for me, I already had understood how to run a business and what the business side was, to then expand them to now digital. Why SEO and local? So SEO has a lot of, misconceptions, I would say, right?
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of people think that you get emails, you get calls guaranteeing, promising, paying $100, freelancers all over the world, and they're going to promise the world, right? It's a very similar thing as when you go on social media, you'll see courses that promise you can make $100,000, $1 million in a month. It's the same thing, right? Be careful of who you use. Do your own back checking. With SEO, it's all about positioning your product, service to become that expert in your niche, right? And if it is an Amazon product page, or if it's a service-based type of small business owner, very similar concept. You want to be speaking directly to your customers, who is your ideal type of client, with information and content that they will use that positions yourself as that thought leader. Let it be a service page, a home page, a blog page, a newsletter page, a before after page, whatever it is, optimized to every factor, and understanding your customer and how that journey plays. What's the content that they want? Is it written content, images, podcast, videos? What is the question that you want answered? So if they have problems, you are the solution. Answer it. And come in with detail, with case study, substance, testimonials, and proof, right? On why they need it. And then you optimize for Google as well. There's a lot of factors in place. So we have a team that focuses on content, SEO strategy, competitive analysis, link building. Then there's the development aspect, because developers that are building a website are different than SEO developers. Graphic designers, there's anyone that builds business cards, images, banners, whatever, brochures. And then there's SEO graphic designers. There's a difference. Even content writers who write for books or PR publications is different than SEO writers. So for me, I built a team that's just SEO focused with 7 pillars, right? Link builders, SEO graphic designer, SEO developers, SEO consultants, strategists, SEO content writers, just everything SEO, because that's what it takes to do it well. And we collaborate well. We focus on just knowing our base niche and really focus on doing the best we can for our clients.
Interesting. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, there's all this, I think you're right. There's a lot of misconceptions about white hat and black hat practices and, shady stuff. And there's some gray areas about, what you can and can't do, like with link building and, and so I think it's really difficult for a lot of people to trust, to know who to trust. And then also just to know, like, let's say somebody doesn't have a budget at all starting out, and they just want to know what the heck do I do to just scratch the surface and get started here. And it seems like what you were talking about, a lot of it goes back to content. So you're just, at the end of the day, you're trying to tell Google, hey, I'm authoritative on this topic. I know what I'm talking about. I have a lot of helpful information. And, so if somebody's looking for something related to this topic and they find me, they're not going to be disappointed.
And it takes time, just like running a business. Oh, yeah. Right. Sure. So if you think about these business owners I work with, these small business owners, medium-sized professionals, they've been doing what they've been doing for 10, 20, 30 years, from education, from apprentice, to then starting their business or working under someone before starting their own practice. That could have been a 20-year journey. Right? Then they're a business owner and they want to be a business owner for 5, 10, 20 years. So SEO is great for those type of people. They want an expert. They want to shrink time, but they want to do it right. But if you're new and you're an entrepreneur and you're kind of doing things on the side, but you have no real experience in running a business yet, or knowing no real experience on that expertise that you're talking about, how do you think Google's going to rank you for it? How do you think your customers will want to pick you? It's the same thing with real estate and plumbers, right? When there's millions of real estate agents, right? And if you have the option to pay someone the same amount, will you pick someone that's fresh out of real estate school or someone with 20 years experience with a proven track record?
Right.
You're going to pay the same commission.
Yeah.
Same with the plumber, right? Someone out of school, apprentice. charge the same amount versus someone with 25 years experience that can get it done in 20 minutes because they've done it with years and years. So it's the same thing with life, right? Like you'd rather go with someone with experience versus trying to figure it out yourself or try to bootstrap it or hire a freelancer. Like in business, you learn by making mistakes. You learn by trying, right? And you learn by just doing it. And I would say go learn your business inside out as much as possible. And that's why I learned from day one at Yellow Pages. Like these business owners I work with, which was thousands of them while working at Yellow Pages, I learned so much about like foundation, what it took to be a great business owner, how many years it took, and what they wanted to be known as in their industry, which markets they want to focus on, who is their competitors, what's the pricing like, how do they take care of the customers, how do they supply chain to get good costs, right? Operation wise, human resource wise, there's so many other fundamentals that are so important before starting a business. That same thing all applies to building a website, understanding your clients and content piece, and then actively getting some press out there, right? Because no one's going to get you to become a speaker if you just started.
Right. Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Or someone to put your application in the magazine or a newspaper article. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more, man. I agree 100%. And when it comes down to it, I really think us as, the service-based or service provider, as far as if it's an SEO service, if it is a pay-per-click marketing, if it is whatever it is, it comes to us educating the old school clients, right? The local businesses that have been doing the traditional for 10, 20, 30 years, and they don't know anything else, but they did hire the freelancer that promised them the world, that was going to rank them on page 1 of Google. And then it was like, they get burned. And then now they're sour and bitter about digital marketing just in general. And they're like, SEO doesn't do anything for me. This doesn't do this. This doesn't do that. And so for me, I see that when I come in to provide a service for a client, it's more of me educating them on what can be done and what right looks like compared to what wrong looks like, because they're trying to pinch a penny and save money and go with that freelancer that promised them the world, because they do. Like I get inundated with thousands of emails a day, it seems like, in my inbox about people trying to sell my digital marketing services, right? Wanting to work for my team because they have a better solution or better way of doing things. And sometimes I scratch my head because I'm like, can you really do that? And how much value are you actually adding somebody if you're providing like full blown 40 word SEO tactics, and then you're just charging me $15 a month? I'm like, come on, man. Like something was a little sketchy here, So, I mean, what do you say about that, John? I mean, how much time do you find yourself having to educate some of these older businesses? And again, we can't fault them for not knowing what they don't know, because they have been stuck in their ways. But I really think to help us earn that trust and bridge that trust with them, it is really us educating them on why our service is better or why we can do it, because you've been in the game for so long, right? Because you do understand this. And so what would you speak to that?
Yeah, vetting is so important, right? Understanding who you want to be known as, what you do, and how you're different than everyone else, right? I don't like comparing apples to apples or oranges to apples or whatever.
Right.
It's more like be realistic. If you're a freelancer, if you're outsourced, if you're even an agency, what are they offering at that price? Yeah. And what is their track record like? The knowledge base on business owners on SEO is very, very small, very surface level, right? So you might have to very well educate them to a level that they feel comfortable that you know what they're doing with a proven track record, right? If they've been burned by someone else that overpromised and never delivered, it's probably true that they got duped, right? By someone that just is there for a quick dollar that doesn't have a proven track record. So how are you any different? Do you have proof? Do you have good clients with a proven track record? So it's all about like sustaining a quality product and playing in that field, right? Because if you're playing in the field of whatever that lower tier price point is, it's a cluttered market because everyone's competing with the dollar store kind of mentality.
Right.
Versus a quality, what are you differentiating yourself? Is it service level, actual true results? Is it more boutique, custom? What is the major differentiators. So for me, I'm a full service boutique agency that does everything just focus on SEO. And we have in-house for every department, collaborates collectively, versus there's a lot of digital agencies that say they do SEO, but what do they do? Content? Maybe it's keyword research, some gap analysis, competitive analysis, but do they focus on any other realm of it to really get the full gamut of the full results of SEO? So understanding where you play is pivotal in how to market and go to market to your ideal type of clients.
Yeah. And not having some basic understanding of what the SEO components are, what the point of it is, because it's like, I think that is where a lot of people just don't fully understand. So it's great that you went over all that. It's a lot easier to understand what a pay-per-click ad is. Everybody knows what an advertisement is and like what the objective is, how it's done. You pay somebody money, they put your advertisement or creative in front of somebody else, and like that's it, but there are so many things to SEO that I think people just kind of get lost, and they're like Clint said, man, you have a bad experience with one person and you're just soured to the whole thing. And at one point years ago, I thought SEO just doesn't work. It's just this BS that people try and sell that, it doesn't work. Nobody actually knows how it's done. So that it actually, can't be done repeatedly and effectively. And I was so wrong. I mean, it's definitely a very real, important, powerful thing. And I think when people kind of start to realize that SEO isn't like it isn't a bad thing and isn't like this mysterious thing. There's concrete rules to it. And while we don't know the algorithm of search engines exactly, it doesn't matter, because the point, like Google's entire objective is to get the right content to the right people. That's it, right? And they're always working towards that. So you don't have to try. I remember hearing about people trying to scramble to, figure out what's the latest, algorithm. What were they trying to do with their algorithm, and how can we like almost game the system? But it's basic. They're only changing their algorithm because they're trying to make it easier for the customer to get what they're looking for.
Yeah, I'm going to add two components. So I'm glad that you mentioned about like SEO being an unknown for a lot of business owners. If you look at advertising in general, you probably have an allocated budget, 10-20% of your overall budget that goes to trying to market your business, advertising your business. You have options from digital to traditional. You can do events, newspaper, radio, brochures, flyers, whatever. And then digital, email, affiliates. You can do banner ads. You can do social media. You can do, landing pages, funnels, you name it. There's so many different digital. Then it's more like, where do you want to allocate your budget? SEO is more on the long-term sustainable growth of ideal type of clients that are inbound. There's a difference. But if you're doing proactive advertising where people can see the tangible results, that's where social media paid ads play, because you can actually see what's going
and you
into
get instant gratification too, which you don't get with SEO. And that's so important.
But that's the mindset of a business owner, because business owners, like, I just paid $1,000. What am I getting? Right? I don't see anything.
It could be 8 to 12 months before you see anything.
So it's
like
more
any
about
traction.
Like education, right? It's all about like understanding it's a long-term game. If you're looking for short-term growth, there's other ways, but you're going to be disappointed to even break even. The ROI is going to be low on that. The type of client's going to be low. Imagine when done right, you're going to get to pick and choose your ideal type of client, right? Yeah. In the long term, but people have short attention spans in today's day and age because it's all real-time, instant messaging, social media feeds that are like real-time. That's the difference. That the world we live in today is completely different than 10 years, 20 years ago, because we didn't even have internet, let alone laptops, webcams, like this stuff. 4K, 1080p, fast, T1 support internet lines didn't exist, right? Yeah. It was phones. It was mail, like the old school going to an event, trade show, right? Like, so imagine those businesses that now are like fast paced. You just don't get it, right? They don't understand. And then these business owners that are new now, younger, they don't understand the foundation of running a business. So there's a gap in both realm. And I'm trying to bridge it because I need to educate on both fronts because I live both worlds, right? I kind of am in the middle of it.
Yeah, definitely agree. Yeah.
I mean, John, and with that said, from your perspective, and let's take someone that's starting a new business or somebody that's has a business currently and they're just struggling. What are 2 to 3 important things that they can action or can do to start, getting traffic or generating leads, whether that's, through an e-commerce sales store, whatever it is? Just what would you say to that? And what could somebody action today? As far as SEO is concerned, right? Whether it's getting in focusing on local SEO, whatever that may be.
The product is a little bit different because you're competing with the Etsy's, Amazons, and any online retailer that has a huge ass budget and a huge ass internal team to do SEO. So you're competing on such a grand stage that you have to find opportunities and niche markets to really focus on. So look at very hyper niche, hyper ways, like there's tools and software for keyword research, right? To uncover opportunities and gaps. So that's what I would focus on, but don't expect huge returns on that investment. Right. I would say play with ads first, especially until you run a real business. And when I say real business, I would say $200,000 in revenue. Then you can play with real SEO. But if you're starting off, you don't even know if this is a business yet. Mm-hmm. And this is the difference in the world that we live in. Like a lot of the younger people don't understand the difference of people who've been running business for generations. What I mean by generations is like 20, 50, 60, 100 years, right? What it took for people to realize how long it took to train themselves as a business owner. Today, it's so fast paced. Everyone's a freelancer consultant that becomes a business owner. In reality, do they even know anything about business?
Right.
Learn how to run a business. Yeah. Understand your product inside out. Understand your competitor. Understand what market you want to cultivate. Understand how you're going to get to market. That's business ownership. And that may take you years to figure out, not just days and weeks and months. That's not realistic. But that's the American dream. People are like trying to figure that out, right? Everyone's trying to crack the code. There's no code to crack. Right. You got to be realistic with the thing. No. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of like blunt. I'll tell people as it is. Yeah. And they either like me or not. I don't care because that's realistic, right?
Yeah, John, I'm the same way. And I couldn't agree more because it's like, you have to be realistic about it. And you were straight up and straightforward with it, right? It's like focus and know your business. And then, like you said, do you even have a sustainable business right now for you to even focus on the long-term goal, right? So paid ads, I mean, as an SEO expert that you are, it wasn't, hey, SEO, because you can tell that you're seasoned at what you do because it's not, hey, SEO first. There's a lot of guys that are new to the game that would, if I ask them the question, they're like, yeah, SEO, let's invest in SEO. But again, like you said earlier in the episode, and like you said throughout, it is a long-term investment. And it's something that, again, you got to look that you can see some quick results in if you do it, depending on some of the things that you look into and some of the advantages that you lay down. But again, it's long-term. And I appreciate you answering it that way, man.
Yeah. There's no quick solution to like life in general, right? Like, I mean, everyone goes through different journeys and different life stages, from schooling to education to then career, and then maybe business or whatever path that you have. And maybe you're going to get married, have kids. There's no, I want to be born and suddenly have a kid and live in a mansion and have a successful business. That's entrepreneurship. That's what people expect today. That's what, when you say 6 months, how do I get started? That's what it is. But business ownership is like 5 years of work experience before you learn how to run a business for another couple of years. And then you're going to make a couple mistakes. And, it's like the whole journey. And every person is different with their journey. There might be one person that hit it, strike it rich right off the bat, but that's maybe 1 in a million. But the majority of the people will struggle and fail, pick themselves up, struggle and fail, pick themselves up, make a ton of more failures before they become that one hit wonder. But it took them 20 failures.
Right.
They don't talk about those failures.
Right. That's so important to know. Yeah. That it's just when you like, I'll come up with an idea. Sometimes I get excited about it and I think, oh, it's going to be just from the point that I have this idea. If I got started tomorrow on this, it's going to take at least a year or two to really see any results. Exactly. I mean, I could have within that time, I could have an idea of like, yeah, I think I'm really onto something, or no, this isn't going to work out. You have that sort of go, no go, like assessment as you're going along. But yeah, it's not just like, all right, I've got an idea, I'm going to execute and I'm going to start making tons of money in a couple months. And like, that's it. It's so interesting because once you get in, once you do business for a while, you kind of realize, oh man, things really do take time. But you also realize that if you do things the right way and sustainably, and you do have a good base, which is what SEO can provide, because you're getting this organic traffic month after month, you can just, at some point, you really kind of can sit back and it's this self-perpetuating, thing that grow. Like you have to put so much time and energy in the beginning, but with that really strong, solid foundation, it can grow with less effort instead of trying, month in and month out to just, if you don't have that strong base, it's just a grind every month. And
it's maturing, right? And it's the evolution of not just business ownership, but as an expert in any full field, right? Niche. Right. You'll learn, right? From an apprentice to then someone just starting to then someone maturing. And this is life experience too, right? Like someone that's 20 finished school versus say you're 25 or 30, you have life experience. And you can't take that back and you can't educate people on that. They have to figure it out themselves, right? They got to learn and understand like your journey is different than everyone else's. And that's okay, right? Everyone's path is different. And even with business, like SEO might be a one-time fix at the beginning, but it's usually ongoing, continuing adding content of depth to position yourself as a leader. And that takes time, right? It's a lot of hard work too. And people forget that running a business shouldn't be easy, or else everyone's going to be business owners.
Exactly.
Right? If it was that, easy, everyone's instant millionaires yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I feel like the distribution of wealth would get a little bit wacky then. if all of a sudden everybody is millionaire, that would be pretty tough. But that would be, it's great that there's more and more opportunity now. The barriers to entry are lower, which make it easier to get in, but it doesn't necessarily make it easier to stay. And I think that's an important distinction. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you can doesn't mean you're going to be successful. So you really got to kind of keep that in mind. And but if you stick with it,
it's not for everyone too.
Right. Yeah, remember, I think some people get into it and they're like, this isn't for me.
Well, it's a lot, right? Like it's overwhelming for someone that doesn't understand what hard work really is. Yeah. You've been given everything on a platter or, raised differently. And then all of a sudden you got to work 80-hour weeks. You got to work on operations, management, sales, marketing, finances, all under one umbrella as an entrepreneur. You do everything. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes when I tell people that I work from home, they're like, "Oh man, that's cool." But if I did that, I just play video games or watch TV all day. And I'm like, you wouldn't if you had bills, if you had bills to pay. It was the only, if working every day was how you pay those bills, right? You wouldn't be sitting down watching TV all day. And if you do, then it's just not for you. You know what I mean? Like some people really might have a real problem with that, and and making sure that they're held accountable and that they're able to self-motivate to get going. But I'm like, nah, you wouldn't.
You would quickly find yourself over at your friend's house watching their TV because you wouldn't be able to afford yours, So.
Exactly. Yeah. You'd be, you'd be on somebody else's couch.
Exactly.
So, John, through your entrepreneurial journey, what has been the most difficult thing about being an entrepreneur? I mean, we just kind of touched on some tricky stuff about it, but what's the most difficult thing for you?
So for me, I started this SEO agency not knowing anything about SEO. So the biggest challenge was I was always in sales and marketing, and then I had to figure out how to actually do the technical. Well, I didn't really do it. I always hired people, right? And then I felt like they can fast track things for me because they've already done it. They know how to do it, and I will piggyback from learning from them.
Right.
So I hired a lot and I fired a lot. I made a lot of mistakes on the whole process, the intake, the type of clients. So there were so many mistakes along the way. It was not rosy at the beginning because I didn't even know if I wanted to continue doing this.
Right.
Like leaving a 6-figure job to then starting my own with nothing, no customer, no base, no brand, no nothing was challenging, right? But for me, it was more support from my wife to say, look, I'm going to support you while you try to do what you do. And that was all I needed, right? And then it was more self-motivation. And I made a ton of hiring mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes early days, and I still make mistakes. They're just not as big and magnified. And I try to minimize them as much as possible. I have great people on my team. I have a great system and processes in place, but it took years to figure it out, to cover all the gaps I had, right? And now I'm just getting better and better. And during this pandemic, like I'm so grateful and ultra fortunate to only be working 4-hour days and then spending the time with my family, right? Because someone has to teach my son how to go to school.
Right.
Do all that stuff, right? So all these things, it's like, it's great that you're at home, but you have to understand like there's reasons and how to do it properly. And it's timing too, right? Like it has to fit your lifestyle. Why did you get in business in the first place? It should complement what you ultimately want out of life. And if that means spending more time with your family, travel, buy stuff, go places, great. But if it's running and ruining your life, how long can you endure it before you give up? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're young and no kids, no responsibility, no mortgage, real obligations, then you can do anything anywhere in the world. Right. You can travel to, Hawaii or, Thailand and work on a laptop, be a vagabond or whatever. You can do whatever. But when you start settling down and, a lot of people understand this, where, your parents kind of raise you to become a parent eventually one day too, right? And that's the whole point of it. So you mature, you realize what's important in life. But yeah, I continuously make mistakes. I just try not to make them as big.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. I mean, and it sounds like you really push forward. You're not scared of, pushing the envelope and trying new things. And I think that's really important as an entrepreneur to be able to take risk, and it doesn't have to be crazy, bet the farm on something all the time. It's just, you can take calculated risks, but it doesn't mean that it's going to work out all the time. But once, the more experiences you have, the more it kind of the more that it prepares you to be successful and to not make those mistakes as much or as, like you said, as big in the future. So yeah, that's great.
And I think just being in sales allowed me to have a lot of confidence for me to sell anything.
Yeah, sure.
And without that skill set of 10 years of experience, knowing how to sell properly, without clients, you have no revenue. Without revenue, you have no business, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I went out in there and sold, got some, clients and money to then hire and build a team, right? But a lot of people don't have a skill set like that. They have a skill set of SEO technical, but no sales experience. So they hire a salesperson, not knowing what to expect in a salesperson.
Right.
So I feel like I had that competitive advantage of sales, but I didn't know anything about SEO.
You still leveraged it, it seems. And it seems, again, sometimes when you get into it, like you said, you might not be that salesman, but if you're a business owner at some point in time, if you're a true business owner, I got it. You can hire sales out, but there's going to come a point in time where you have to sell something, right? You have to sell your business. You have to sell your vision. You have to be that subject matter expert. You have to learn, because if I owned a business and I cared less about, like, say I own the SEO business and I'm just hiring everybody, and then somebody sits down with me and asks me what I do, and I'm like, I own an SEO company. Okay, explain that or tell me more. And I don't know anything about it. I don't know the basics. I don't know the fundamentals. They're going to look at me like, dude, what? Like, I was like, here, I'll pass you off to my salesman. Like, talk to them. And they're like, I'm all right, man. You know, so I really think you have to, at some point, be able to sell yourself or your company.
Yeah. Or if you can't express it to, you know, if you can't like clearly communicate your product or your mission to people. And that's an interesting point, because it's not just about being a good salesman isn't just about the external sales, selling a product or service to your customers. It's also about building your team. If you can't sell your vision, your mission to other people, then nobody's going to get on board. Nobody's going to help you.
Yeah, it's so true. You're constantly selling relationships. If you have a significant other, your kids, you're negotiating all day long with them, man. Just be prepared. But there's like, sales is a part of life, right? Negotiation is a part of life. Communication, all these skill sets are intangible. Like, these things you need to harvest and learn as a business owner. And you only get better by practicing and making mistakes. Because if you think you're going to be perfect the first time around, good luck, right? Like, as a business owner, you're going to continue to make mistakes, and it's a part of life.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so as we wrap up this episode, John, if you could leave our listeners with one piece of advice, and we could have touched on it already, what would it be? As a business
Owner, as someone that kind of has been doing it for 8 years now, grown a team, I would say, don't be afraid, right? And go out and do something, because a lot of people will overanalyze or try to, analysis paralysis, or kind of have all these objections before they even come out. I kind of bootstrapped this company, right? My first client was on a cell phone, smartphone. I didn't have a laptop at that time. And I sold them. And then I realized that there is a market, there's a demand. People are willing to pay me 6 months up front or a year's up front and give me $5,000, right? So if I was able to sell with a laptop, anyone could sell. If you have, the whole vision of, look, I can help someone. You're creating value. You're creating a product or service that people are willing to pay for, because they don't want to do it themselves. If you have that market mindset of, look, you're helping them out, shrink time, or doing something they want and willing to pay for it, you have a business.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So go out and envision something, but understand how to run a business too. Because a lot of people think they know how to run a business by reading books or listening to podcasts or watching videos. Go out there and run a business. Go out there and make mistakes. Go out there and have side hustles, but not just 1-2 side hustle. Go do it for 5 years. Go out there. That's real life experience.
Yeah. I think that's the real MBA out there. Yeah. It's actually just doing it.
Doing it, man. And make mistakes. And it's a part of life. Just like when you're dating, right? You're going to find someone eventually, right? It's not going to be the first picking, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. And you're going to make mistakes throughout all those relationships. So, you got to figure things out. And it's so true that, there's always an opportunity to learn and grow and get better.
And if you don't know everything, that's okay too. I always, a lot of people are like, fake it till you make it. I say, be genuine and be authentic. Let people know, like, I don't know, but I'll find out and get back to you. Sure. Right? People respect you from saying, no, I don't know, than saying, I exactly know, and this is how it works. And although you don't even know if that works or not, right? Like, people will see right through you when you're lying, right?
Well, I mean, I served in the military, and my military leaders taught me that lesson early on. Or I really just, and not me specifically, but just me being in the room and seeing higher ranking individuals, like, give them, I don't know, sir, answers. And he's like, all right, this is what you're going to do from now on. Even if you don't know it, you're going to go find the answer and then come back to me. You never say that you do not know something, right? They're like, how's your soldiers or whatever? Like, same thing with customers. How are they going to look at you if you say you don't know? At least educate yourself enough to say, I will come back with an answer after I do a little bit more research on it. Not, hey, I don't know the answer, because that's just like, you're just ending it there. Sir, I don't know. Or, sorry, customer, I have no clue how this is going to work. I do have this service, but I don't know how it's going to get done. So yeah, I couldn't agree more, man.
Yeah. Just go out there and do something. A lot of people are like in front of a computer all day long, checking out social feeds on Netflix. I mean, these are great when you are kind of retired, right? But if you're young, go out there and learn, go out there, educate yourself on whatever career path that you want to take, right? Business or whatever, life, go figure it out, man.
Well, guys, you heard it here. Go out. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. So I think that's a wrap for this episode. And from the both of us, John, we want to thank you for taking the time into your day, brother, and helping us add value to what we're doing on our podcast.
Amazing, man. Had a lot of fun, Clinton and Andrew. Let me know if there's anything you need, but I'm here to support and help entrepreneurs as well.
Awesome, man. Yeah, we really appreciate you being on here and sharing everything that you did. Thank you all so much for listening to That Entrepreneur Life. To learn more about what John is working on, check out local SEO search.ca. If you like what you heard today, please subscribe to our podcast, and don't forget to download our free ebook at thatentrepreneurlife.com. Also, if you're interested in having us do some mini masterclass episodes this season, let us know, give us a shout through our website, and let us know if you're interested in that.
And with that said, guys, thanks for continuing to support what we do as entrepreneurs. And don't forget to join us next week for another episode of That Entrepreneur Life.
Thanks for listening to That Entrepreneur Life podcast. Be sure to visit thatentrepreneurlife.com to join the conversation, access our show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode as we continue to add value. Until next time.